here. This is a farm that my grandfather bought back in the 1970s. I came back and farmed with him and have farmed it here since the early 1980s, so a little over 30 years now. Corn and soybeans. This farm itself is, this field right here is about 260 acres. An acre is about the same size as a football field. And so we put those all together and you can get a sense of how big it is. About 1/2 mile from one side to the other side, and about 3/4 of a mile from the west side to the east side. So corn and soybeans. Every year we grow corn on half of it. We next year put soybeans on that. On the soybean half we put corn the next year. We've had a very good growing year, and we actually have some of our best yields. That's the production from that corn and soybeans that we've really ever had. And so we've been very fortunate. A lot of places in Iowa are having that as well. So as we look out here, you can see some of the corn that's still standing. This is just the last about 50 acres out of my total 300 acres of corn that's left. So about a day or so of dry weather will let me go ahead and finish corn. The soybeans here at this place, we finished. So around Iowa, we're getting a lot of folks done with harvest, and you'll see that as you get out on the road. But we have some of the older equipment that's out here that I don't use as much anymore. In fact, there's a plow out there. When Iowa was first settled, it was grass, and we had plows. In fact, John Deere was a man who made some plows and was really famous for making the plows that would break up that sod and allow you to plant corn or other crops into the farmland. That plow that we have up here is a plow that would have been, and I'm not even sure, we can kind of see it there on the other side of that rusty wagon up there. Hasn't been used in 30 years now, or 25 years, I guess. And actually now we don't do any tillage at all, no stirring of the soil. After this corn is harvested, we will leave that until next spring and be able to come back and plant our soybeans right in the same rows as the corn. And the same with the soybeans. We put some fertilizer on, but otherwise no tillage.
How long does it take for the crop to grow?
Good question. So generally we plant our corn about the 1st of May. So just before you're out of school, maybe a month before you're out of school. And our soybeans maybe 2 weeks after that, about the middle of May. And then the corn or the soybeans are harvested in September, maybe the end of September, early October. The corn is usually harvested a little bit after that. So they grow from about May to October.
How long does it take to plow a field?
How long does it take to
plow a field?
Well, I don't do any more plowing, but if we were to plow, it takes a little while to be able to plow. So that used to be one of those jobs that took a lot of tractor power, and it took some time. And if I was to use that plow on this field, like the corn part of this field, to plow it, it would take, probably wouldn't take a week, but it might.
How long would it take to plant a field?
To plant a field, for my 300 acres, of which this is about half of it, for 300 acres, I can plant it in about 3 days, about 100 acres a day, as long as I don't have breakdowns. So that means the equipment is running the way that it's supposed to run, and you got to have seed there on time and get the planter filled up.
How long does it take to farm a field to the past to now?
Difference between past and present.
On what's the difference?
Of time it takes to plant or plow a field.
Well, it is much shorter. That's a great question because that's changed a lot through the years. When I was plowing, I would generally do something to the corn stalks ahead of the plow. We'd also do some other tillage, use a disc or something that would stir that residue, that old corn stalks into the soil. I would go up and down these rows probably 4 times at least before the planter got in the field. And then we had smaller planters then as well, and we had smaller combines then. So we had, when I first started farming, about the same number of acres as now, and we had 2 to 3 people farming that. Now I farm it with a part-time helper, mostly just on weekends. We both have other full-time jobs, so it probably takes 20% of the time, 1/5 the amount of time that it once did. It used to take maybe 5 times as much time as it does now to be able to cover the ground, and we have more production. We get more yield per acre now than what we did 30 years ago as well.